Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. You know, the best news if you want your riches is that there is extreme confluence among various metrics and assets right now, and this particular blend of reality only happens right before alt season. Historically, that's the only time it happens. It is lined up here yet again, like clockwork. So we shouldn't be surprised, but we should be excited here, frankly. And I'm going to share with you perspective from 10 different XRP chart analysts, including one who simply says XRP wants higher, and he makes his case. And I don't doubt it. Whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, it is going to be sooner rather than later. There's a reason that every single reputable chart analyst that I follow firmly believes that XRP is going to melt faces this market cycle. And the vast majority of them think that double-digit price action for XRP is in the cards. And I got to tell you, it is crazy to me recognizing that XRP is already safely over $3 today before the mania even starts. That's crazy. Can you imagine, like, this is a starting point instead of 49 cents as a starting point? We're above $3 and the euphoria hasn't kicked in, and some people are still fearful. A lot of people actually. I mean, think about that. Think about everything lining up, the confluence, everything. You know, from Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum breaking through a key resistance level today, you know, XRP chart structure, various altcoins primed, some already breaking out, a couple already hitting new all-time highs, including XRP this cycle. Gold looking weak. Global M2 has just been doing nothing but increase, and we know that the crypto asset class follows that chart-wise. There is a strong correlation. There has been for over a decade, directionally for over or close to 90% of the time. It's everything that you could possibly want to happen, and it's happening. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby, and excuse me, and just for fun. As I record this video, it is 6:30 p.m. on the dot, Central Time, which is my time zone, Friday, August 8th, 2025. XRP is $3.29. Earlier today, though, it did reach as high as $3.37, according to Live Coin Watch. You got Bitcoin at 116,890 bucks. So, mostly sideways price action here, but let me share with you a bunch of perspectives from various chart analysts as to why that's not going to be the case for long. Bitcoin is going to rocket. But of course, Bitcoin dominance will also be tanking at the same time because, first of all, structurally, that's how it's set up right now. I'm having trouble finding chart analysts that think that Bitcoin dominance, that chart looks strong. At the same time, though, we know that means, we know that this comes at the end of each cycle, right before alt season. So again, that's part of the confluence I was talking about. Which means Bitcoin price should go parabolic. That price of Bitcoin should go up. It's just the dominance percentage will decrease. Alt season ensues then. That's the whole point. And so here's a post from chart analyst Dom, and he said Bitcoin dominance is close to falling off a cliff. It is currently trading under a large apex of two uptrends, the 12-month RVWAP, and a strong support zone. This area gave the bounce a few weeks back that flushed altcoins. This is the first time all cycle a pullback was not followed by a V reversal. I'm keeping very close eyes here as the floor can give out, which would send altcoins in the next week or weeks. So he's recognizing, he's very careful about when he says stuff like that. I've learned that about him. But he's noted something important. And normally, when Bitcoin dominance starts to fall like this, it just V-bottoms, it rockets straight back to the upside. This is the first time it's not happening. It is not rocketing back to the upside. It just isn't. And that's what you would hope and expect at the end of a market cycle. Because that's what happens right before euphoria kicks in. And that's when you get all the life-changing wealth opportunities. And so he thinks that this could kick in much sooner than later. That is great news if you are an XRP holder. Here's a post from Swissblock. They do all sorts of fancy on-chain analytics here. This is a Bitcoin dominance chart on your screen. They certainly share the sentiment that Dom does. They wrote, Bitcoin dominance is at a turning point. Bitcoin dominance is testing its long-term rising channel, which is that's the yellow lines on your screen there, with fading volume and weakening momentum. A break of support which is the red circle right, yeah, for those of you looking at the screen, that's where my mouse pointer is. It says a break of support would be the first in 2+ years, accelerating full alt season. And so there you go. That's just a couple examples. And I could make a whole video showing nothing but examples of this from reputable sources. I'm telling you, like, this is just broadly accepted. Bitcoin dominance is weak. And if you love altcoins, that's great news. If you're a toxic Bitcoin maximalist, go fuck yourself. I mean, you'd be sad. That's what I meant to say. Here's a post from chart analyst Mikey Bull Crypto. It's an Ethereum USD chart. It says breakout and retest $6,000 to $10,000 price targets. Now, let me note that Ethereum is doing some good Ethereum style stuff here. It's above $4,000 at the time that I am recording this latest Moon Lambo hot jam. Remember when Ethereum was about $1,400 a few months ago and everybody said it was dead because if the price goes down, that means that it's over. Remember when people said that about XRP2 last year? It's just so stupid. The price in and of itself of any asset does not necessarily indicate the long-term viability of that asset. In fact, most of the time, it's just emotional humans doing emotional people investing stuff, which is all that was. Which is why when Ethereum was about $1,400, I was like, no, this is going to rocket. And from a historical perspective, when you look at the Ethereum BTC chart, that pair, when it bottoms like this, I mean, markets do find bottoms. And historically, when it bottomed like that, that was the moment right before it reversed. And wouldn't you know it, it reversed. It's the same thing I said about the XRP BTC pair last year. Markets find bottoms, then they reverse. The market corrects if something is undervalued. That is what's happening here. And this is great if you're an XRP holder, because historically Ethereum rocketed into the upside like this. That's what kicks off alt season, and $4,000 is a key level. So let's hope that holds and ultimately blasts through that. But we haven't seen a new all-time high for Ethereum this cycle. I think it's coming though. And so when where'd that post go? Is it this one? Oh yeah, here it is. So when Mikey Bull Crypto is saying, you know, this cycle atop it looks like $6,000 to $10,000. Well, on the low end, if you get $6,000 and XRP matches that market cap, and there's historic precedent for that, by the way, that would be $12 XRP. And if Ethereum goes to $10,000 rather, then if XRP matches that market cap, then XRP would be $20. $20 per XRP. So it's not crazy to speculate about that. Here's a post from chart analyst Mustache. Hashtag altcoins. I know it sounds wild, but I think Ethereum will go to $10,000 plus. It's trying to break out of the right-angled descending broadening wedge that has been forming for more than a year. Ethereum is the mother of all alts. You know what that means for your bags. Send it. Spot on. And so honestly, I'm surprised that he thinks that that's a wild perspective, $10,000. To me, that just seems to be like broadly accepted by tons of different chart analysts, actually. Think about it. That's only about a twofold increase from the peak of the last cycle, which was close to $4,900. So take it for what it's worth. Here's a post from Crypto Wizard, Ethereum price chart. Seen this before? Tell me, what do you see? To be frank, Ethereum has the same setup it had in 2017 and 2020 before parabolic explosions. This time isn't different. Prepare for the real liftoff. And so there's just a few examples of that. I could fill up a whole video just sharing posts from analysts that agree with that, because it's the broadly accepted perspective from analysts who don't suck at charting. That's what I'm telling you here. That's why it matters if you're an XRP holder. Let's talk about only XRP for the rest of the video. Does that sound like a plan? Yes, indeed it does. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Wizard. Xrp Wants Higher. Too crazy to be coincidence. XRP continues to explode upside following its breakout, just like it did in the summer of 2017. Up plus 48.41% from this call. That would be July 14th. And he says, sorry, bears, higher to go. See you at $4.50. Now, he's not saying that we're going to peak at $4.50. He thinks that XRP is likely to go much, much, much higher. But he does believe that it's going to come. And that it looks a lot like 2017, and a lot of analysts agree with that. Summer of 2017, man. So I think XRP, it actually, I could be wrong, but I thought it started rocketing like March or April, maybe it was May. And then it consolidated for like half a year, and then it rocketed again. So it had that second pump. We're at the point where we're waiting for our second pump here, which again happened last cycle, but also the cycle before that. There's historic precedent for this. Here's a post from chart analyst Aquaflow, XRP USD on the screen. He says, Ethereum made it, $4,000 reclaimed. Now it's your turn, XRP. We are counting on you. break that golden resistance, and so that would be close to $4. He says, join the breakout. Let's finish this cycle on a beach, not behind a chart. And can you imagine a world where, like, we don't get there? That's just hard to believe. I mean, I will not be surprised if we do end up hitting double-digit price action. I'll just say that. Here's a post from chart analyst Greg Crypto. He says, XRP, keep on leveraging, and the market makers will keep on eating you every time during brunch. Do you think this 12-cent downside will scare any XRP spot holder except high-leverage traders? Do not leverage. It will get you killed, and market makers will eat alive every day. He means eat you alive every day. Yeah. That's correct. And he posted that this morning, 11:08 a.m. So the price of XRP has gone up a little bit since then. But it had dropped 12 cents. And these people using leverage, what is wrong with them? You can just get, by literally doing nothing, you can just buy XRP, dollar cost average in for a span of years, and then you get life-changing wealth. And all these dipshits are using leverage out there. Like there's some kind of crypto wizard. What is actually wrong with you? That's actually one of the chart guys' names. But not him. But they think there's some sort of sorcerer, a crypto sorcerer. There, I fixed it. Okay, but they're not. They're actually just fools burning money. If the thousands of percentage point gains that are possible in crypto aren't enough from you, and you have to juice that by using leverage, there is something wrong with you. Seek help. There's got to be some sort of support group. I'm telling you, folks. Here's a post from chart analyst Galaxy, XRP. Breaking $3.30 again is very bullish. Uptrend has resumed. And that's what he posted last night. So he's optimistic that structurally this thing's looking pretty damn good. And that is consistently what I see from chart analysts. Here's another example, actually. And this is just from this afternoon, 1:38 p.m. Central Time. This is chart analyst Ali Martinez. The last two times the MVRV ratio flashed a golden cross, XRP soared 630% and 54%. That signal just appeared again. Well, folks, don't you know it? A signal of that magnitude, flashing at a time when it historically makes sense and when there's confluence amongst everything else you could possibly want to consider. How about that? No way. I'm telling you, we are not done here, folks. Here's a post from chart analyst Zoom. He says, 5-wave downward structure complete. XRP low time frame, $3.80 to $4 incoming. And he posted that last night, so confidence we're going to be seeing that sooner rather than later. Just a matter of time, folks. Here's a post from chart analyst Steph Crypto. XRP to $5 is imminent, and he posted that this morning. So you're getting a feel for it. This is what I keep seeing. Now, having followed many reputable chart analysts for the better part of a decade at this point, I just got to let you know, they're not all singing these praises consistently, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. That is not what they're doing. They're only saying very similar things now because that is what actually makes sense. They don't normally talk like this. They are now because it does make sense to talk like this. Here's a post from chart analyst Bark. He says, XRP is about to go on a historic pump. We will see $10 very soon. Next week will be historic. And he posted that just this afternoon, 12:38 p.m. Central. So no shortage of confidence here. Here's a post from chart analyst CW. XRP's phase 4 rally is going to start in earnest. Are you ready? And I will note, for those of you not looking at the screen, phase 4, the peak of that, it's $21.50. I don't know if we're going to hit that, but that is not a crazy thing to speculate about. It really isn't. Lots of very reputable chart analysts think we're actually going to peak, XRP will peak somewhere between $20 to $30. Here's a post from chart analyst Casey Trades, XRP USD. And this is from just this morning, 10:20 a.m. Central. XRP pulls back in a sell-off toward critical $3.22 support. And of course, we know it's come up a little bit since then now. But she says, after the recent strong impulse up to $3.38, XRP is now approaching a critical support zones near the 382 retracement level and the important backtest around $3.21 and $3.22. This support area is significant not only because it's a backtest, but also because multiple degrees land here. It is strong support. And so I'll note, of course, at least as of the time I'm recording this, it has treated it as support and continues to treat it as a support level because it has rocketed up a bit since then. She says the current sell-off looks sharp, but my take is this might be a short squeeze trap to shake out weak hands and trap shorts before the next breakout. This kind of move searches liquidity for renewed bullish momentum. A 382 retracement is still okay and bullish. All eyes should be on this $3.22 support level. It's crucial for maintaining the bullish structure and confidence in XRP's trend. And then I think she might have provided a quick short update. Yeah, charts greater than news. Well, that's certainly true. But after that happened, she simply wrote perfection because it did bounce off that level. So she called the level, and then it actually bounced off that. So in a separate post, she wrote perfection. So take for what it's worth. I think it makes sense to be pretty damn happy about what's going on here. Just saying. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.